I got shot once. It was a good day. I still stood, with just a flesh wound. But how do you say? You should have seen the other guy. That bullet earned me more respect from my fellow officers. Only a handful of us ever got shot. It meant something. Still does among the veterans. For 7 years, 3 months and a day, my squadron was posted in the center of the East-West Division, Bernauer Straße. Only the strongest of us were trusted with this particular assignment, as escape attempts from the east to the west became more and more common. If socialist Germany was to have any real chance, it was vital that these efforts were diffused, so that the division between east and west would remain clear, strong. I followed orders to the letter, standing strong under fire, not showing any cracks. There were a select few along my line who couldn't cope as well as the rest of us. However, we were widely known as the toughest unit. And it has to be said that this reputation only made us even more difficult to conquer in the eyes of potential escapees. If an Easterner wished to pass into the west, it would have been foolish to attempt an unlawful crossing at the more heavily defended parts of the wall. And even if our line was compromised, there were others. Barbed wire, landmines, anti-tank ditches. And of course, watchtowers manned by the finest DDR soldiers in Eastern Germany. The bullet that hit me came from one of those soldiers. My years in the war were amongst the best I've come to know. By the end of 1987, all of us could see that our careers were coming to an end. President Reagan had made a visit in the summer that seemed to ignite something inside the inhabitants of both East and West Berlin.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Attempts to breach our lines became more and more sophisticated, with meticulously planned bids to cross the wall becoming regular occurrences for the last year or so. Even the richer Westerners had begun trying to break us. It wasn't long before the inevitable happened. I was sorry to leave. My fellow officers and I were very close. We relied heavily on each other just to stay standing, as the unit as a whole grew weaker. After 6 years standing, my strength crumbled, along with that of my supporting officers. It destroyed me. For such a long time I had defined the border between East and West Berlin, but so suddenly it was all over. For those final moments, I'm sorry. I wish things had happened differently. I remember it, my final day in the war. The last thing I saw were two faces. Their bodies seemed to be hugging me. A young man on the west side, a young woman on the other. She was dressed from head to toe in white, and she was crying. I remember more people started to gather around them on either side. Then more, and more, until eventually all of us were surrounded by thousands of people. By the end of the day, I was out of a job.